Okay, let's just finish up quickly here. We'll just do a very simple skeleton board. Just, one segment width. So I'll bring in a new object. Shift A, I'll make a mesh, make a cube. And I want the pivot point of this to be on the ground. So I'm going to bring it up so it snaps. I press Q, all transforms. Now I'll just scale this down. And I want kind of a tall one, I think. Like most old style houses, you have quite tall skirting boards. And I will then just come here, I'll select this face and okay, that won't snap there for me. So what I'll have to do is set the transform of it, and then I will use the dials here. I want to snap this to -1, and then on the far side I'll give that 1, and there we go. So now I can just come in and I will, in edit mode, I'm going to press Ctrl R and just add a cut, a loop around here. Select the back face. I'm going to press Ctrl and hit the plus key. That'll grow my selection. And press X, delete faces. Now, there's a slight little inset here, so I'll quickly fix that. I'm just going to select that edge loop. I'll turn off the snap for this because I want it precise. And I'm going to hold the shift key and that'll slow down my movement and I can just keep it flush. Right there. So it's a bit on the chunky side. I'm going to grab the front face, pull it in a touch. And that is pretty much that. Now I can just add a bit to it. I'll quickly set transforms again and I'll put a bit of an indent run along it here. Maybe something like that. And then if I add another loop here, and now I can, in my tools here, I want to go to loop cut. If I click and hold, I can get offset edge loop cut. Now I can just offset that loop a bit. Again, I'm going to hold my shift key down so I can get more control over this. Maybe there. Right, I'm going to remove this very center line here. X, dissolve edges, and I think I duplicated that, so I'll do the same here. Dissolve those edges. There we go. So I'll just grab the two front facing edges here, and I'm going to push them back, just so we can get a bit of a decorative touch to it here. And I'll probably take this top edge, the outward facing edge, and I'm going to bevel this. I'll press Ctrl B and I'll just bevel it a touch. Maybe something like that's fine. But we need to be considerate here. We left ourselves with an n-gon here. It's a 5-sided polygon, so I'm just going to quickly join those verts here so we can get a tri and a quad out of it. Okay, that should be fine. Now, how do we cut this up? So we're going to just quickly add a texture onto this. I'm going to cut all the sharp edges. So I'll cut, I want that to unfold at a hinge point here. And I will probably need to, with this as well, it'll be awkward. I'll probably do here and here. That should give me a good unwrap. So I'll just quickly do the same here. Right click and mark seam. Now I'll unwrap this. Press A to select everything. U, unwrap, angle based, and let's have a zoom on this. Yeah, that's pretty good. Nothing but straight edges there. Alright. So I need to give it a, I'll need to give this material. So I think I might have a good material for it. If I look in my asset browser here, I should have some materials in my modular. Yeah, here we go. So these are all the materials that we made on the project last time. I'll just I think that was 5. I think this was mostly wood-based products here. So I'll bring that in. You can see we've a few different types of wood. It's just running the wrong direction. So come back to modeling. And now I can probably get the texture to show here. If I come to this guy, I want Atlas 5 to fuse. And I like this one. I think I'll go with this wood for the skirting. So I will select all of these UVs here. And I know that the big polygon here, that's the bottom. So if I rotate this clockwise, I should then be able to just move that into place. And we can get an idea of how it's looking. It's kind of the wrong color, but we can worry about that later. We could probably tint the map or make another map where it's like a painted wood rather than a dark wood. Okay, so the point to note here now is because we need to make this tile. So I'm going to grab this. I'm going to turn snap on and make a copy just to see how this works. So if we look at the moment, we can see there's a pretty obvious seam there. So we want to fix that. So if I come in here, I'll use my transform tool and I'll just pull this out. Now see, we don't want this part of the UV to hit the edge. We want this part because this edge is actually the corner piece because it folds around the side of that. We don't necessarily need this geometry, but there will be the odd case where we want that there. If we're getting to a point where the skirting board would just end, you know, like say this was a doorway here, you don't want to have open faces there. So it's best to just keep them in this case. It's not a lot of polygons, and sure, if you need be, you can remove them. But we'll keep them considered in the UVs here. So if I just pull this down, this is the edge that I want to run seamlessly. So as I'm not sure if you can see this here, as I'm manipulating this, you can see at what point it becomes seamless. Okay, so I want this to be here. And now it doesn't look right on this side, but that's because we haven't adjusted it over here yet. So we just want to grab this and make sure that these edges are flush with the side. And now if I try that again, I'll come back to the modeling window. And with snap turned on, these should line up perfect. Now, it's very subtle. But that's not bad. Alright, so we can quickly use the same approach then and just get a divider for here. Or even in some cases what we could do, probably maybe duplicate this. We don't necessarily need it. Just get some ideas about what we're going for. So I'm just going to rotate this. And if you can imagine this was like a small shelf area sticking from the wall. But the idea for this would be you want to use this geometry to cover this seam here. Because if those textures here are going to be changing, you know, so like if I grab this and make a tile, you probably want to hide that harsh seam that appears. So I could then use like a wall divider maybe here to cover this. Maybe not something that sticks out this much, you know. Yeah, let's just make one from scratch. Right, remove that. I'll do the same thing again. Shift A, bring in mesh, cube. Now I'll turn on snap for this. I'll bring it up to the midway point and I'll scale this right down. Now this can be quite small. You don't need this to cover a lot. So that midpoint is directly on the theme, so we can make it small like this maybe. And I want to reset this transform, and then right click. I want to set origin back to the geometry. Just makes it easier to model out. And the same here, we can set this to be 1 and -1 as far as the width goes. And now I can adjust the rest by eye. So I'm just going to bring this out a touch. I don't need that much on the back. I can bring this forward. Okay, and I'll reset this one more time. All transforms and map. No, set origin back to geometry. Now, I'll quickly just add a little detail onto this. We'll give it one edge and split that edge so that it's something like this. Now I can go back to my select tool, remove that middle one, X dissolve edges. I'll grab him and I'll just pull him out a touch. And then depending on how much resolution you want to give yourself, you can make this quite complex. So I can just grab these guys and try to get like a little pattern out of this. I think that's actually a little on the big side, so I could scale them maybe downwards and inwards. Something like that would be fine. Again, it's just to cover that crease. So now what I want to do is unwrap this. I'll come into edge select. I know that this point here is going to be my hinge, so I'm basically going to select this guy, hold control, select around the front side of it, and I'll hold shift and just deselect that. So the cutter will basically hinge from that point, and I'll do the same on this side. Hold shift, select this guy, hold control, go around the front, and hold shift again, remove that. Now right click and mark seam. Now I might need to unwrap this one more time before, sorry, not unwrap, to reset transforms on it. Now when I unwrap it, it'll be perfect because all rotations are gone. Or not. What happened there? Is the back still on it? Yes, the back is still on it. Okay, that was a rookie mistake. Let's just remove this. X. Move faces, and I will try that unwrap one more time. Angle based. There we go. That's a lot better. Right. So now let's just give it the same material. I'll give it material 5. Material Atlas 5, I should say. And let's have a look. I want to turn off constraint here. Rotate this and line it up. We'll go with the same material as the skirting. That makes the most sense, I think. Let's just try get this here flush. So I'll bring to this edge and then come on this side here with my transform tool. I'll grab this and I'll just pull it out until that set of edges are touching. And that should be that. So again, we can just grab this, make a duplicate of it, and just see if the tiling is working out. It is. Again, there's a very slight little seam on that, but it's not bad at all. So I can remove that, delete, save. Okay, so basically that's the gist of that. All these other walls are going to have the same things added, but we're going to cut them so that they fit properly. And actually, as a little bonus, because we're going to want to start decking the interiors out, let's add a little painting on the wall here. So, I don't know, call it a fun little bonus exercise, a very quick one. I'll just add a mesh plane and let's bring it up. It actually just so happens I was farting about with AI prompts earlier, just seeing what the scary hype is about, and I managed to get ChatGPT to make me a nice little image. A painting we could use actually for this. So let's say we want to find something like this, make it a bit smaller probably. So it does have its uses, I guess. I know a lot of people are terrified of the way AI is going. I'm hesitant about it myself, but learn to work with it, I guess, is probably the best thing. Set origin to geometry, and I will bring in that image. So I need to set it up as a material. So I'll give it a material here, call it painting, and then under the shading tab, I'll zoom on this. Now I'll just wire up image texture, go to base color, and I'll just find that. Should be under textures, fields, open, and there we go. It's upside down, but that's a UV issue. Let's just come here in the modeling. Right, I need to unwrap this, angle based. Let's just get the image to show up here first. I'll get the image here. So now we want to rotate this. It looks like it's going upside down there. I'll snap this. And I'm just going to move this into place first. And now I can come in, turn on my constraint to image bounds, and select edges. And I'll just get this to fill. Fill this out. And then I can adjust the actual mesh as needed. So if I come into orthographic, it actually doesn't look too bad. I could probably make it a little longer. Okay, we'll just go with that for now. Alright, it'll do. So I'll make a frame for it as well, real quick. I'll just do that by duplicating this, Shift D to make a duplicate, and I will come into poly mode and I'll inset this to give us our frame. Say that and remove that face here, X, remove faces. And now with set origin to geometry, I can just scale this up. Maybe something like that. And now I can give this solidify modifier. We'll give it some thickness. Generate, solidify, and yeah, we will get this to generate backwards and then offset it in the front a touch. Maybe if I come into gray shade, I could see this a little better. Something like that is fine. Right. Now, I just need to apply this. And I will UV unwrap it. So I'm just going to select all the edges here on the corners. And I need to select one edge, loop in the back, and right click, mark scene. Now we'll give this a wooden frame, obviously. So I'll quickly just select everything, A, U, unwrap, angle based. And we will apply to this Atlas 5. And now we just need to find which piece of texture we want to use on this. So let's select everything. I'll turn off constrain and just move this off the image for the moment. So we obviously want this to go with the grain. I'll probably just use. I'll use this one again for now. I'll find more wood textures we could use. Just move that in, and then I'll just scale everything. Okay, so it's a little on the large side. So what I can actually do is independently make these bigger. It'll actually reduce the grain size then. And because these are tiling left to right, I can actually make this much bigger. As it's going to tile, so we get a finer grain then. I'll do the same with all of these. Scale them all up roughly the same size, just so they're using the same, approximately the same pixel density, and that should then be that, I guess. So there, now we even have a little picture frame. Maybe we'd want this to look more like glass though. I can do that in shading. I'll just come in, select this, and I'll just drop the roughness. Just to give us a bit of a reflective surface there. And even, I could, down the line I could make a better frame for that. I was thinking a varnished frame would be nice, but I can't affect this without affecting every instance of that material. So I'll make its own material for that later on at some point. I'll probably have a couple of these paintings hanging around anyway at some point. And now I can just select these and scale everything up a little. No, let's not mess with that. Right, well that is pretty much that for now. A couple extra little touches. So I think this video probably went on a bit longer than I was hoping. But we'll carry on the next one, and I will start adapting these to the other segments, and I'll probably do some doorways as well. Also, we need to take care of some floors and roof tiles as well. But we're getting there. We'll just keep knocking them out bit by bit.